said, you back up again.
Chanel told me that
you
when
are
she
such
turned
a liar.
16.
I said
She
in
showed
your
me her
face
birth
and
certificate
told you
because
this man
she
signed
needed an
that birth
ID, a
certificate.
state ID.
It doesn't
and she showed
matter.
me this birth
I still
certificate.
told you he
told
put
me
his
nothing.
name on the birth certificate.
You don't come back for 2 days and you say you sent someone to pick her up because you had to work, but you worked graveyard, so where were you all day?
I did pick her up. I had other business to handle.
No. So is the reason
what other business is there than your son? Then your son.
Ms. Kyler has spent 29 years being told one thing, feeling another, and getting answers from absolutely no one. She walks into paternity court with her mother, Ms. Mills, believing her father is one of two cousins, Mr. Barrows or Mr. Rado, Toto. Both men are dead. No do-overs, no, let's just ask him. The only thing left is DNA and decades of emotional damage.
Ms. Kyler, you've brought your mother to court in hopes of finally finding out which of the two men in these photographs is your biological father. You claim it's been a lifelong mystery.
She explains that as a little girl, her mother pointed upstairs and said, "That's your father." Mr. Barrows lived right above them with another family, never acknowledged her, never claimed her, but he paid child support her whole life. Imagine being a kid, seeing your dad daily, and getting ignored like a stranger in the hallway.
Now, Ms. Kyler, tell the court, how did your doubts begin?
My doubts began as a child, around 5 years old. My mother telling me that Mr. Barrows was my father. He lived right upstairs from us, but he had another family. He would not acknowledge me. I did grow up with a stepfather up until age 10.
On top of that, she remembers his girlfriend telling people that's not his child. The kids brought it back to her, like kids do. So 5-year-old her grabbed court papers to prove he was her dad. Then years later, he took her for a walk and said the line that broke her brain, "I don't know if I'm your father or not," and that doubt never left.
Also, when I was younger, there was an incident of his girlfriend going back to her children and his nieces and nephews saying that, "Oh, that's not her father." She said that and they came back and told me, "Oh, Eric's not your dad."
Ms. Mills takes the stand insisting she always knew Barrows was the father. She says his family accepted her, they lived near his people, everyone knew, but she admits she took him to court after he cheated and refused responsibility. The judge told him, "Take the test or pay support." He skipped the test, got hit with child support, and stayed mad.
Ms. Mills.
Yes.
So you told your daughter, the man upstairs, that your biological father?
Yeah, I told her because we moved into an area where her dad's family was living at.
As Kyler got older, she went to the courthouse herself to look for proof of a DNA test. The file was sealed. The clerk told her only her mother or Barrows could access it. When she brought it up, Ms. Mills was furious. "He's dead, let it go." And that right there is why we're in this courtroom, because you cannot let go of not knowing who your father is.
Your Honor, I actually went down to the courthouse earlier this year. I wanted to see if there was proof if there was a test done, and they told me I couldn't see the file because it was sealed. The only person who could see it was Mr. Barrows.
Tension explodes between them. Kyler accuses her mother of lying and hiding the truth. Mills fires back defensively. Judge Lake tries to calm the storm and gets to the core question: was there any other man who could be her father? Ms. Mills swears no, Kyler isn't convinced, especially knowing there were doubts about paternity in the family before.
You lied. Mom, you've lied. You guys
Lori,
You're
know
a liar.
what?
You didn't have a relationship with him. You had relations with him. You're a liar, Mom. Come on. He didn't live with us.
I didn't say he lived with you.
You said you had a relationship. You kicked him out.
Then we bring in Ms. Gonzalez, Barrows' acknowledged biological daughter. She walks in, sits beside Kyler, and when asked if she considers Kyler her sister, she doesn't even hesitate. "Yes, my father paid child support for her for 19 years. She's my sister." You can see how much Kyler wants to believe that.
And that's why I'm asking you, why would a man live upstairs from a beautiful little girl, pay child support, but never acknowledge her? And if he was here, I would ask him.
But Gonzalez explains her side. She heard rumors as a child about another daughter. When she finally asked her father, he always said Kyler was not his. Even on his deathbed, he denied it. She brings up the weird contradiction. Why pay child support for a child you say isn't yours? He told her he didn't want to open a can of worms, because if the truth came out, Ms. Mills might have to pay all that money back.
I was his only daughter, so I approached him about it, and he said it wasn't true. He always said it wasn't. He wasn't the father.
Always told you. Up until the time of his death, he said, this was not my child.
Yep.
And yet you knew he was paying child support?
Gonzalez admits she heard talk in the neighborhood that Ms. Mills was with a lot of people, so she never knew who to believe. At the same time, she notes her whole family has psoriasis, and Kyler has similar skin issues. Plus, she thinks they share features. Then she reveals something that stings. Kyler's name wasn't in Barrow's obituary. That exclusion cut deep.
That if he was not the father, maybe that she had to pay that money back, so maybe she might be relieved that he's gone.
I can't really speak about their relationship because I wasn't there, but I knew that in the neighborhood, Miss Mills was very promiscuous and she had been around with a lot of people, so I didn't know.
So
Now the second possible father, Esteban Rado/Toto, Barrow's cousin. Kyler testifies she was told by Barrow's sister that her mom had also been with his cousin, and that's why Barrows doubted when Kyler confronted her mother. Ms. Mills admitted she'd slept with Esteban before Barrows, but swears the timing doesn't match her conception. Kyler's face says she's not fully buying it.
they did not list Miss Kyler as a child that he left behind.
That hurt a lot. Even at the funeral, I felt some type of resentment from his other kids, like, we're his kids and she's not. I just felt that way.
Enter Ms. Tirado, Esteban's daughter. She's emotional, respectful, but clearly upset. This was all dragged into court decades later. She says she grew up calling Ms. Mills aunt. Her family believed they were all like relatives, and now she's finding out there's a chance Kyler might be her sister. We're all in our 30s, she says. This should have been handled a long time ago. Facts.
I dated Esteban when I was a teenager. Me and his two sisters stayed best friends even after me and him broke up. His mother, his whole family. We all stayed friends. His kid's mother knew I had nothing to do with him. I knew I didn't have nothing to do with him, and there is no way in hell that he's her father.
She's especially hurt that she found out about this paternity situation on Facebook. Family secrets via status update. Peak 21st century chaos. She questions why Ms. Mills would risk blowing up two families so late. Mills insists she never slept with Esteban during the conception window Tirado pushes back. Why are we even here then? The emotional fatigue is real.
I know, I can see it's just breaking you down. So you feel like when you look at this picture, you see more of your face.
He has a long face. I have a long face. I really don't know.
Hi, Ms. Tirado. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here today. You are Mr. Tirado's daughter, biological daughter.
Yeah.
Judge Lake steps in and centers the only person who truly matters here, Lori Kyler. She calls out the adults, past and present, for years of secrecy and confusion. She praises Lori for demanding the truth instead of swallowing it. You can see Lori on the edge, bracing herself. Decades of maybe are about to meet science.
Why would you do
I grew
this?
up as cousins, but that was before you was born, any of you was conceived. He treated my kids as his nieces and nephews, and I treated his kids the same way. When I dated your father, we were teenagers.
Time for results. The lies, the timelines, the accusations. It's all on the table now. Everyone in the courtroom is on edge as the judge prepares the envelope. Only one piece of evidence can end the shouting and finger pointing. The DNA results will reveal the truth once and for all. Who's the real father and who will have the last laugh?
In the case of Kyler v. Mills Gonzalez Tirado, Mrs. Kyler, your 29-year wait is over. The deceased, Mr. Barrows, was not your biological father.
Judge Lake has her sit before continuing. This is already a life-altering blow. The man who paid, denied, hovered upstairs all those years. Officially not her dad. Then the judge does something different. She adjourns open court and takes Lori and Ms. Tirado to chambers for the next result. Because what comes next is delicate.
Down before I go to the next envelope.
You said Mr. Barrows was not my father?
No, ma'am, he is not. Are you ready for the next result? Okay. In light of this result, I'd like to adjourn court right now.
In chambers, Judge Lake explains this is the first time they've had this kind of situation. She reveals the test between Lori and Mr. Tirado's daughter is inconclusive. The lab needs more reconstructive and extended testing to determine whether they share a biological father. No clear yes, no clear no, just more waiting. Lori's face says it all. Heartbreak stacked on top of heartbreak.
Ladies, I wanted to meet you in my chambers to go over that set of results because, quite frankly, this is the first time this has ever happened, and I know how emotional this is for both of you. The results for this particular testing between you, Ms. Tirado?
Dr. Baird from DNA Diagnostics appears by statement, assuring them they'll do everything scientifically possible to get a definitive answer. Judge Lake looks Lori in the eyes and tells her she's brave. She deserves the truth, and the court will stay with her until it's resolved. Lori nods through tears. No outro, no easy resolution, just a 29-year-old woman still chasing the identity everyone else fumbled.
Both Ms. Kyler and Ms. Tirado to know that we will do everything that we can to determine if there is a biological relationship and do whatever it takes to get the results scientifically.
So it just means that it's going to take longer?
Yes, and the court will be in touch with you as soon as we have those answers. I just want you to know I understand how difficult this is, and I'm so proud of you.
Ms. Mitchell comes into paternity court with her mom locked in, her feelings wrecked, and her childhood sweetheart on the defense. She says Mr. Robinson took her virginity, got her pregnant, and is now denying her 2-month-old daughter, Ryland. He says, hold up, Facebook told him she was sleeping with 4 other guys. Already a mess.
Ms. Mitchell, you are here in the court today because you claim your childhood sweetheart stole your virginity, got you pregnant, and is now denying paternity of your 2-month-old daughter, Ryland.
Yes, Your Honor.
Judge Lake jumps right in. Ms. Mitchell says they hung out. He pressured her for sex. She finally gave in at some apartments. They slept together once, no protection, and 3 weeks later, positive test. Mr. Robinson doesn't deny the one-time hookup, just shrugs like, yeah, it happened. Judge Lake, that's all it takes.
All right, so Ms. Mitchell, explain to the court, how did you get yourself in this messy situation?
Well, Your Honor, we hung out a few times and he pressured me to have sex with him, and I said I wasn't ready yet.
Mr. Robinson admits they didn't use protection, but claims he didn't start doubting her until he got a message on Facebook from someone saying she'd slept with 4 other men. Ms. Mitchell says her true best friend would never write that and accuses him of lying about even getting those messages. Already we've got he said, she said, Facebook said.
One time.
Okay.
One time.
Well, that's about all you need
Yeah,
is one
that's
time.
about-
Did you use protection?
One time.
Did you use protection?
No.
No protection. All right, so that's a recipe for
Disaster.
Judge Lake presses the crucial point. Did you sleep with anyone else in the window of conception? Ms. Mitchell is firm. No. No other partners, no 4 men, no rotation, just him. She says whoever fed him that story is trying to ruin things. He clings to the rumor. She calls it straight-up sabotage.
from the peanut gallery.
Yes, Your Honor, from her best friend, Your Honor.
Telling you
My best friend wouldn't say that.
they just want to give
not
you the
true.
heads up that she was sleeping with other people.
Yes, Your
So
Honor.
that you don't think you're necessarily the only potential candidate.
Yes, Your Honor.
Then we move to the birth. Judge Lake asks, was Mr. Robinson there when Ryland was born? Ms. Mitchell says no, but his sister was. Mr. Robinson claims he sent his sister because he got arrested the day of the birth. On paper, it sounds tragic. In reality, that story's about to fall apart.
And her.
Oh, so you don't think he even ever got the messages?
No, not at all.
Okay, so let's fast forward to the birth. You have the baby. Is Mr. Robinson with you?
No, but his sister was.
His sister came.
Yes, I sent my sister, Your
So he
Honor.
wasn't at the, you sent her.
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell's mom, Diana, steps up like a whole force of nature. She says Hope was raised better than folks are implying, and she brought receipts. Mr. Robinson was not arrested until after the baby was already born and gone from the hospital translation. He could have been there. If you look at Judge Lake's face, you can practically hear, so you lied.
So hold on.
not a lie.
Miss Mitchell, your witness is literally jumping out of her seat.
I know.
So I want to hear from her now. Please step up.
My name's Diana Mitchell, and this is my daughter. And Hope was raised better than to lay around sleeping with men.
They break down the dates. Ryland was born May 7th. Mr. Robinson was actually picked up May 8th. He tries to explain multiple charges, timing, chaos. Ms. Mitchell reminds everyone she labored 14 hours alone. Diana confirms his sister said she was trying to reach him. The whole "I was locked up the whole time" excuse is looking real weak.
With my daughter in the hospital. And yes, his sister was there, and I said, well, where's Ryan?
It wasn't
and she
the day after, it
said,
was the night.
I'm the
Says it
one
right
that
there.
said, well, I'm glad you're here, where's Ryan? And she said, well, I'm trying to get a hold of him. And then I said, did you get a hold of him? And she said, no, Heather won't let him come. That's exactly what she said
Your
to
Honor,
me.
that is a lie.
So hold on, let me understand this piece of evidence.
Things spiral into Facebook drama and girlfriend tension. Heather, his fiance, gets dragged into it, and the women start swatting at each other verbally. Judge Lake snaps, "Who cares? If y'all had stayed on Facebook instead of in a bed with no protection, we wouldn't be here." The gallery hums correct.
14 hours in labor.
He literally.
And you chose to lay down
The
in
guy,
Okay, and nobody actually
you
did
had
the
nothing
same
in
as
it.
he
You
did.
had nothing in it.
Okay,
He
but-
cheated on you.
He didn't cheat on me, sweetie. We wasn't together. I've never done anything to this girl ever. I've never disrespected
She's
her. I
immature
never
and
nothing.
childish,
She's on
Your Honor.
Facebook.
She's
updating
18 years
her
old and she's
status about
immature
me.
and childish.
Diana recenters it. "That's my baby. This is about Ryland." She explains she took Hope to the doctor immediately, confirmed the pregnancy, met Mr. Robinson, thought he might be decent, and then watched everything switch when Heather came back in the picture. You can see she's hurt for her daughter and that baby.
That beautiful
Your Honor, I
little girl
take
is
care
what
of
matters.
her. This is a beautiful baby. This is an intelligent baby, and it is about her, and that is why we're here today. Ryan, when Hope come to me and told me that she was pregnant, first of all, I never believed it was her. The very next day, I took her to the doctor.
After the break, Judge Lake asks the real question. Have you tried to be involved? Mr. Robinson says yes, claims he's messaged, asked about Ryland, wanted updates, but says Hope went off when he refused to be with her. He insists she blocked his involvement because of Heather. Hope's face, absolutely not.
Have you been involved?
Your Honor, yes, I have. I've contacted her and asked about the baby, and I did. And you know what I got? Her emotions. And like I told her, Hope, I don't want to be with you. I don't want to be with you. I want to know how the baby's doing. Okay, and then it got to a point to where she was inboxing me on Facebook talking about, "You're worthless." Why am I worthless? Because I don't want to be with you, and I'm not going to come somewhere to where I am disrespected at all. She won't let her spend time with me because of Heather.
Heather takes the stand. She says she tried to be mature, messaging Hope that if Ryland is his, they should all be civil. But she claims Hope didn't want Ryland around her and said if Ryan was with Heather, he couldn't be in the baby's life. Hope counters that she just doesn't want Heather at her house or around her child. The tension is thick.
And now I'd like to hear from your witness. Ma'am, please stand up to the podium. State your name.
Heather Hitchcock.
Ms. Hitchcock, you are Mr. Robinson's current girlfriend? Fiance. And what do you have to add to this situation?
I have been I've tried being civil with Hope. She had messaged me on Facebook when me and Ryan was split up, telling me that she was sorry for the way that she was acting.
Judge Lake cuts through. What does any of this have to do with Ryland knowing who her father is? Mr. Robinson finally drops the bravado. He says he hopes Ryland is his because he grew up without a father and doesn't want that for her. He hasn't met her yet, but he says if she's his, he wants to give her everything.
Ryland wouldn't know what a good home was unless she was with them.
Your Honor,
No, I did not.
You did too.
How much?
Hold on, first off,
where you messed up, I own a 4-bedroom house.
Listen. You all, like I said before, got so much to say about one another. But what does this have to do about this baby knowing who her father is? Now, wait, I want to understand this. Are you, Mr. Robinson, do you hope this baby is yours?
I hope and pray to God on everything that I love. I have not known my father for 20 years.
Then the appearance argument hits. Mr. Robinson says Ryland doesn't look like him or his son, calls his boy his identical twin, and says there's no resemblance. Ms. Mitchell fires back that Ryland looks like her, which, obviously, and that two kids with different moms don't have to be clones. Judge Lake reminds everyone, we don't decide paternity by skin tone.
The only way she told me that I could see Ryland is if I came by my safe and if I left Heather.
Ms. Mitchell, let me ask you if his contention is true. Have you told Mr. Robinson that he can come and see Ryland only if he leaves Ms. Hitchcock at home?
Leaves her to come to my house to visit her, but not leave her relationship-wise.
Your point is you don't want Ms. Hitchcock at your house.
No, and I don't want her around my daughter.
He submits photos anyway. His son next to Ryland, and a family shot with the kids who call him dad. Judge Lake notes he clearly can be a father figure. Heather vouches he's good with all 3 kids in their home. The irony? He's fighting this one child the hardest. You can almost feel Judge Lake lining up the life lesson.
Jerome, will you please hand me this evidence?
Look at my son and look at her. They look nothing alike.
She looks
That
like
is
me.
my identical twin.
She looks like
That is
like
my
her
identical
mother
twin.
when her
She looks
mother
nothing
So
like me.
you submitted these photos to the court.
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
And this is a picture of Ryland, which is Hope's daughter, and your son on the right.
Yes,
like Heather.
Yes, Your Honor. No, it
Looks
looks like
like you.
me.
Judge Lake challenges Hope. If you truly believe he's Ryland's father, why block his access? Hope admits she doesn't want Heather involved and doesn't trust the environment Judge Lake hits both sides. If he's the father, she has to stop building walls. If he is, he has to step up past the drama. No one in that room is fully innocent except Ryland.
So, hold on. Miss Mitchell, let me be clear. You believe Mr. Robinson is the father?
Yes.
You know that?
Yes.
Because you say you didn't sleep with anybody else.
Yes, Your
So, if you want him to be a part of your daughter's life, and you believe that he is her biological father, and although he has doubts if he is in fact her biological father, he wants to be in her life.
Then we shift to money. Hope sues for childcare expenses. Diapers, wipes, formula, clothes, detergent, totaling about $270 a month. At 2.5 months, that's $675 total. His half would be $337.50. If he's the father, Judge Lake says she'll only rule on it after the DNA results. You can see him swallow.
Just a couple minutes ago, I said that that Ryland has 3 siblings. She said she has none.
The only reason that is stated is because it was told by me, by Ryan's family member, he's testing the wrong one. I don't know her children, I don't know her, and I don't know them.
Well,
I know nothing
So you're
about
saying,
them.
hold on.
And that's why that
You're
was
talking
said.
about another child.
Mr. Robinson says he has no problem providing, mentions having a crib, clothes, a room ready at his house. Judge Lake likes that energy, but reminds him talk is cheap without proof of paternity. Finally, she shuts down all side noise. We are done with Facebook. We are done with he said, she said. Let's get back to Ryland and the results.
Know and to have in her life is her mother,
But also her.
and also her father. And if that is you, you've got to figure out how to make that happen. And Miss Mitchell, you also have to come up off all of your, the barriers that you are creating, that you admit to. You don't want him to be a part of her life. You don't want this, you don't want that.
Jerome brings in the envelope. The whole vibe shifts. Hope's clutching herself. Ryan's trying to look calm, but you can see his jaw flexing. Heather's stone-faced. Diana's locked in. Judge Lake reads slowly. Tension doing all the heavy lifting.
So you're saying the baby has everything she needs. So
Yes,
you
she does,
have
Your Honor.
a room and
Yes,
a
Your
place
Honor.
for her
Yes,
to
I
sleep.
do, Your
So
Honor.
this is perfect because I'd like to also deal with this arbitration. Now, Ms. Mitchell, you're suing Mr. Robinson for child care expenses.
Yes, Your Honor.
Baby Ryland's 2 months old.
Yes, Your
For
Honor.
the past 2 months, you've been doing this by yourself.
Yes, Your Honor.
The lies, the timelines, the accusations, it's all on the table now. Everyone in the courtroom is on edge as the judge prepares the envelope. Only one piece of evidence can end the shouting and finger-pointing. The DNA results will reveal the truth once and for all. Who's the real father and who will have the last laugh?
So I have monthly expenses for Ryland. Diapers at $35, wipes at $30, formula $145, clothes $40, bottles, baby laundry detergent $20, total monthly expenses $270.
Your Honor,
And you have receipts. I see the receipts attached.
Now Judge Lake circles back to that money. Because paternity is confirmed, she awards Hope the $337.50 in childcare expenses. His share for the first 2.5 months, he agrees. No argument. Then she turns to what actually matters. Can this man please finally meet his daughter? Heather nods. Hope nods. Ryan says, "That's all I want."
If you're in fact baby Ryland's father, you would indeed owe her half of those child care expenses.
Yes.
But I cannot rule on that claim until we know the results.
I don't have a problem with buying Ryland anything. Like I
Good,
said,
that's what I wanted to hear you say. Now that's enough of that conversation, because if in fact she is your biological child.
In chambers, Judge Lake lays it out for them. No more Facebook wars, no more conditions, no more using Ryland as leverage. You two made this beautiful baby, she says. Now you figure out how to raise her together. Ryan gets emotional, admits he's been through a lot, but promises to be there. Hope agrees to let him in. That's where we leave it. A scared but willing dad, a guarded but hopeful mom, and a baby who finally has her truth.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows. In the case of Mitchell v. Robinson, when it comes to 2-month-old Ryland Mitchell, Mr. Robinson, you are the father. So now, before I ask Ms. Mitchell if it would be okay if you meet your daughter for the first time, I have to say, concerning the arbitration,
Ms. Gamboa walks into paternity court exhausted and fired up. Her husband has spent a year accusing her of cheating, even with their male babysitter, and she says his doubt has led to him emotionally neglecting their 1-year-old son, Dominic. Mr. Gamboa admits he'll be crushed if Dominic isn't his, but claims the child looks like the babysitter. One babysitter, one baby, one very fragile marriage.
Mrs. Gamboa, you say you're fed up with your husband because he's repeatedly accused you of cheating, even with the babysitter.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you're here today to set things straight because you say his doubt about paternity has led...
Judge Lake lays it out and goes straight for it. Did you cheat on your husband with the babysitter? Ms. Gamboa firmly says no, but also casually mentions the babysitter was in their bedroom on the bed. Sir, then we hear how this started. A call from her stepfather-in-law saying the babysitter was asleep in their room with the door shut, instant suspicion unlocked.
Mr. Gamboa, you argue you'll be crushed if you find out Dominic is not your biological son today, but claim he does indeed look like your former babysitter.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say Mrs. Gamboa is lying about
Your Honor.
cheating. So, Ms. Gamboa, did you cheat on your husband with the babysitter?
Ms. Gamboa pushes back. The door wasn't shut, she wasn't in the room, and the stepfather doesn't like her anyway. When Mr. Gamboa came home from his graveyard shift, he saw the babysitter on their bed. She says she was in the living room. He says, "How do I know what happened before I got there?" You can feel trust draining out of this story.
I was at work, Your Honor, and I got a phone call because we're all living in the same house. My stepfather had called me saying that the babysitter was asleep in my room on the floor, the door shut with my wife in there.
The door was...
Judge Lake asks the obvious. Why is a male babysitter in your bedroom at all? That's when we learn the twist. This was his friend, a mutual friend, homeless, with 2 kids. They took him in, gave him a place to stay, and now here they are in court over it. I regret it, Ms. Gamboa says. And honestly, yeah, that tracks.
So you work in a graveyard shift all night?
Yes, and we have a 4-bedroom house, so I mean, the babysitter could have slept in the other room with his kids where they were at.
We had 8 kids in there. There were 8 children in the room. My 5, his 2, and my niece.
Now to the "he looks like the babysitter" argument. Mr. Gamboa swears Dominic's head shape and walk match the babysitter. Ms. Gamboa is not having it. She points out Dominic has the same dimple, same birthmark, same bump on the head as their other son. She's literally itemizing DNA with her voice. I mean, just look at that conviction.
He was not living with us at the time, and Mr. Gamboa offered him to stay with us because he was homeless with his 2 children.
No, we had both.
So you took in his children?
Right, and ever since then, it's been a living hell for me. I regret it. I regret it till this day. I tried to help Brenda out, and I ended up paying for it with this.
So Mr. Gamboa...
Then Mr. Gamboa explains his big fear. He had a severe case of mumps as a teenager, was told it could cause infertility, and spent 5 years with an ex and never conceived. So in his mind, getting someone pregnant, plus a man sleeping in his room, is suspicious. Ms. Gamboa fires back. If that's the logic, why didn't you doubt our first son too?
I mean, the back shape of his head too looked just like the babysitter.
He looks just like his dad. He has the same bump in the back of his head. He has the same birthmark on the same arm as our other son. He has the same dimple on the same cheek as our other son.
I had severe mump.
Judge Lake asks how this doubt has affected Dominic. Mr. Gamboa admits it. He is not bonded with him at all. Dominic clings to mom, cries with him, throws fits. Ms. Gamboa says she brought video showing he won't pick Dominic up, won't change diapers, won't interact. Judge Lake looks genuinely disturbed. The emotional damage is right there on screen.
Well, Your Honor, when we conceived our first son, we were all living with her ex. We were all living in one house. So I mean,
right, and he knew about it.
All of you all were living in one house.
When we first got together, we were in high school or junior high sweethearts.
So if I couldn't conceive with my first wife, and then all of a sudden...
We see the photos. Dominic at 1, Raymond as a baby. Judge Lake notes there's a strong resemblance. Meanwhile, Mr. Gamboa leans on his long shifts and the constant presence of the babysitter like a security blanket. For his doubt, Ms. Gamboa snaps back that work isn't an excuse for emotionally ghosting your own child. She's right, and you can feel it land.
Let's first look at
that is Dominic at 1 year old, and that Mr. Gamboa around.
And you
Well, with
say
Dominic,
you
I
see a
didn't get the
striking
chance to follow.
resemblance.
I wasn't always home. I was always working 12, 15-hour shifts.
Then we get into the babysitter drama. He had keys. He was snapping photos like it was his place. After they kicked him out, he allegedly tried to get both of them to leave. The other Judge Lake hits them with, "You all are the epitome of messy." Accurate. But she yanks them back to the point. This mess is exactly why Dominic is suffering.
Wanting to.
But that's
The babysitter was
right.
doing that?
Yes.
Right. Your
Yes,
Honor,
Your Honor,
I strongly believe
we
that
had
our
moved to an
babysitter was
apartment.
trying to mess up our marriage. Because at the end of this whole situation, our babysitter, when we kicked him out, he had no place to go.
Ms. Gamboa describes Dominic's birth. Mr. Gamboa stayed through 13 hours of labor, cut the cord, took pictures, kissed the baby, then said he was going to get clothes and didn't come back for 2 days. He claims he had to work. Judge Lake is not buying that script. You don't tell a woman you're coming right back and vanish. Every parent in the room is nodding.
I found out on MySpace.
Okay, I want to get back to Dominic because ultimately I want to hear how this young child, this young innocent child has been affected because of this. These are choices you all have made.
She admits she couldn't get past it. He insists he was handling business. Judge Lake drills down. Wasn't there a part of you replaying, "Is this my son?" He finally admits, yes, that doubt, plus the babysitter situation, fueled his distance from Dominic from the start. And that's the part that really stings.
I wish my husband would say he was about to leave somewhere and come right back and didn't come back for 2 days. We're gonna have us a cop.
I couldn't get
Now
a hold of him.
you don't come back for 2 days and you say you sent someone to pick her up because you had to work, but you worked great.
Next, we watch video of Dominic at the park, climbing, while Mr. Gamboa stands disengaged. Judge Lake's parent instincts kick in. You're not going to help him? Ms. Gamboa explains this is the difference. He would jump in for their other son, but with Dominic, he hesitates. The clip says more than any testimony. I mean, just look at that reaction, or lack of one.
You didn't go to work. Tell the
First
truth.
of all,
You
I'm a
didn't go to
man
work.
I take care of all 6 of her children. I put a roof over their
He
head.
didn't go to work. I had Dominic on a Friday. He did not work until Monday.
In another video, she tries to hand Dominic over. He screams and refuses to go. Ms. Gamboa says, "This is my everyday life." Mr. Gamboa claims that's proof Dominic isn't his judge. Lake corrects him immediately. What we're seeing looks like the result of emotional distance, not a DNA result. You could cut the guilt in that room with a knife.
Brand new, beautiful baby that could be yours because you had that much doubt?
Yes, Your Honor.
And this doubt.
When someone's sleeping in your room, when it's not your kids, when she had the option of bringing our kids into the room and him.
When asked what happens if Dominic isn't his, Mr. Gamboa says he'll walk away from the marriage. Ms. Gamboa responds right back. If Dominic is his, he needs counseling for his trust issues, and they both need marriage counseling, or she's done. For once, they agree on something. Without help, this relationship can't survive either way.
2 of them were occupied and the kids were sleeping all in the other room.
But Mr. Gamboa, your husband has a good point. Even if
I know, I admit that.
Just get your children, bring them into your room, and then the babysitter and they can have the other room.
Judge Lake calls out everyone's part. The babysitter sleeping arrangement, the gossip, the lack of boundaries, the poor choices that opened the door for doubt, but she refuses to let Dominic be collateral damage. It's time to stop guessing. Jerome, I think we're ready for the results.
How does he treat him differently?
If you look at the video I brought, you can clearly see the damage is done to Dominic.
You submitted video to the court.
Yes, I did.
And if we
Your
had a
Honor.
female babysitter and she ended up pregnant,
I need you to describe this video.
The envelope arrives. The room freezes. Ms. Gamboa's shaking. Mr. Gamboa looks stubborn, scared, and tired. Judge Lake reads, "In the case of Gamboa v. Gamboa, pertaining to whether Mr. Raymond Gamboa is the father of 1-year-old Dominic Gamboa, the pause is brutal."
Okay, that's your son. Go get him. Like, what the heck? You walked away. You turned your back on him.
I've never turned my back
You
on
just
I've
turned your
taken care
back.
of him.
Now he's climbing.
The lies, the timelines, the accusations, it's all on the table now. Everyone in the courtroom is on edge as the judge prepares the envelope. Only one piece of evidence can end the shouting and finger-pointing. The DNA results will reveal the truth once and for all. Who's the real father and who will have the last laugh?
You've admitted that you have not bonded truly with Dominic.
I have not bonded.
And when I'm looking at that picture as a parent, I mean, my instinct is to reach out because that's what parents do.
Judge Lake does not let them stroll out easy. She tells him he's been financially present but emotionally absent, and that has to change now. Then she turns to Ms. Gamboa and keeps it all the way real. You had no business having a male babysitter in your room anywhere near your bed. She orders counseling resources for them so Dominic doesn't spend another year paying for their mistakes.
Dominic, the same way you treat the other four, as if he's not his. Financially,
how is that?
They're 100%. They're supporting me, myself, my children, Dominic, and my other son.
They both agree to try. No more babysitter drama, no more he looks like him. No more letting outsiders run their marriage. Just a confirmed father, a wounded but determined mother, and a little boy who finally gets seen as fully, undeniably his.
Then you should have bonded with him from day one.
How can I bond with him if I have to work and take care of the family? And
doesn't matter. When you come home, you can bond with him.
I'm working 16-hour, 15-hour shifts.
That's an excuse.
Imagine growing up adored by the only dad you've ever known, then one day finding out you might actually belong to a man who confessed you existed on his deathbed. That's Ms. Lee's reality today. Across from her, Ms. France insists their late father's final wish was to find Sonia, and she believes Ms. Lee is that missing sister. The tension? Off the charts already.
Ms. Lee, you stand before the court with a question you say haunts you each and every day. Is the man who raised you your biological father, or is it another man who is now deceased?
Ms. Lee opens up, and you can hear the heartbreak in her voice. She was a total daddy's girl. Now she's standing here questioning if the man who raised her was really her father. She's torn between loyalty to the dad she lost and this haunting need for the truth. You can see her fighting tears as she admits she wants to know if there's family out there to love heartbreaking stuff.
If indeed you've now found the correct Sonia, you believe the plaintiff, Ms. Lee, is your sister.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Ms. Lee, how have you handled finding out that your biological father could be a deceased man?
Then Ms. France steps in with a bombshell. She's been told since childhood she had a twin in Michigan. Same schools, same circle, same city, but they never met. To make it wilder, their kids grew up as best friends without knowing they might be cousins. I mean, you cannot script this better. Can anyone else feel the universe screaming, "Y'all, connect the dots"?
Yes, Your Honor. The whole time I was growing up, I heard of Mrs. Lee, and I was always told that I had a twin in Michigan the whole time.
Ms. Lee remembers people in high school telling her there was another girl who looked just like her. Same eyes, same nose, same forehead. She brushed it off as gossip. Watching her now, trying to process that the rumors she laughed at might have been real. You could cut the tension with a knife. Her face says it all. How did nobody tell me? Drama overload, and we're only getting started.
And Miss Lee, you never had any knowledge.
Well, I remember when we were in high school, I was at the same school, and they would tell me that it was another young lady there that, like, our classes never, we never went to classes together. Like, she went at a time before I came, and they would say, it was a girl here that looks just like you.
Now we get to the deathbed confession. Ms. France explains they were once told Sonia died of AIDS way back in the 90s. Their father didn't buy it for a second. On his deathbed, he told them, find her. That was his last wish. The weight of that? You can see it sitting heavy on the sisters. This isn't just curiosity. This is unfinished business from the grave.
Yes, Your Honor. When we originally was told that she passed away, and then they told us that she passed away of AIDS, my dad, before he passed away, didn't believe it.
Enter Ms. Davis, the sister on a mission. She's on Facebook detective mode, searching Sonia Miller, coming up empty, and somehow that even leads to Sonia being listed as deceased in their father's obituary. Then one random scroll later, boom, she finds a very alive Ms. Lee. The way she says, "My sister's not dead," with her whole chest, I mean, just look at that reaction. That's love and shock colliding.
I actually thought she had been deceased. My sister, Mrs. Davis, is the one that found her.
So, Ms. Davis, please stand and step up to the podium. So, Ms. Davis, when you got this news, your father said, find her.
They show the obituary. Ms. Lee literally written in as dead. Imagine seeing your name in someone else's obituary like, "Ma'am, I am right here." Ms. Lee explains she kept ignoring these Facebook messages because they made zero sense, a stranger claiming to be her sister? From a dad she's never heard of? Her confusion is so real. You can see her mentally clutching her edges like, absolutely not. At least, not yet.
Sonya's not dead. This is the Sonya right here.
So what is this you're holding now, Ms. France?
This is the obituary that when we made the obituary out that has her listed as deceased.
Jerome, can you please?
Next to my younger sister, Diane.
When Ms. Lee finally responds, Ms. Davis unloads the whole story. Deathbed confession, missing sister, false report she died. You can see Ms. Lee's soul leave her body for a second. 1 minute she's a cherished only daughter. Next minute, she's dead. In a stranger's obituary with a surprise extended family. Talk about messy. Identity crisis edition. No wonder she hits her mom with, "Who is Mr. Miller?"
To where Miss Davis, I responded to Miss Davis, and where we exchanged numbers, and I called her, and she just started filling the story out, and it was like, whoa, wait a minute, slow down. Because it's just like, I'm your sister. I know you don't know this or understand it, but on our dad's deathbed, he had me look for you, and we thought you were dead. And
her mom's first reaction, full deflection. "I don't know what you're talking about. Ma'am, please." The more Ms. Lee pushes, the more obvious it gets that there is definitely a story. Watching Ms. Lee describe being shut down while trying to get answers, that hurt. She's calm, but you can feel that anger underneath. She deserved the truth decades ago, not a mystery scavenger hunt in her late 30s.
Just like Miss France said, our kids were our best friends, already claiming each other as cousins without knowing nothing, without even thinking the possibility. They claimed each other as cousins. I grew up in a small city, and then to be this close to my family and not know it did hurt me.
Then Ms. Lee really lets it out. She talks about the years she missed, sibling rivalries, bonding, inside jokes, even the possibility of unknowingly dating her own brother. You can hear the resentment, but also this heartbreaking maturity. She understands not everyone will accept her, but she still wants connection. I mean, someone passed the tissues. This is not your standard petty drama. This is 40 years of silence cracking open.
As you stand here today, even though you talk about the experiences you could have had, you also still sound doubtful.
I am. I don't have any proof. I was born, and I have this, I was born with one name on my birth.
We move to the receipts. Legal documents show Ms. Lee's name was changed from Sonya Annette Parker to Sonya Annette Lee when she was adopted. Enter Ms. Gloria Washington, her mother, confirming she was involved with Mr. Miller while pregnant and that he left her for Ms. France. Mr. Lee stepped up and raised Sonya. You can see Ms. Lee's face, proud of the dad who chose her, hurt by the one who didn't.
Sonya Annette Parker to Sonya Annette Lee.
Yes.
So when you were adopted, your last name changed to Lee.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, ma'am, please state your name for the court.
Your Honor, I'm Gloria Washington, Sonya's mother.
Okay.
Gloria admits she never told her daughter because she didn't think she needed to know. And Ms. Lee, with her voice shaking, says exactly what we're all thinking. She had a right to know. She questions why. If Mr. Miller believed she existed, he never came for her. That mix of respect for the man who raised her and pain about the man who didn't, heartbreaking stuff. Watch her eyes. Those are decades of questions.
I never told her because I didn't think she needed to know.
Your Honor, I'd like to say, at the same time, they knew. If he knew, why didn't the man look for me? Why didn't he come find me? I'm right there.
Ms. France tries to bridge the gap, assuring Ms. Lee she'd always wanted to meet her and that their dad talked about finding her. Still, Ms. Lee explains she only learned about Mr. Miller after he died, and even then through this obituary saying she'd preceded him in death. Imagine staring at your own fake death in print while people swear they were looking for you. Drama overload, but the hurt is so real.
I don't even know what Mr. Miller died from.
But your name was in his obituary, but it said you had preceded him in death.
I didn't even find out about Mr. Miller's existence until I think a couple years after he had passed.
Judge Lake asks if Ms. Lee sees herself in Mr. Miller or in the sisters. Ms. Lee hesitantly admits she recognizes traits in Ms. France she never saw in her mom or the dad who raised her. Ms. Davis jumps in like, she's always gonna be my sister. The love in that moment battles the fear on Ms. Lee's face. She wants to believe it, but she's terrified of being wrong on both fathers.
I see some characteristics in Miss France that I have always wondered where I got them from, that they weren't in my mother or in my the man that I knew to be my father.
And so, Ms. France and Ms. Davis, I have to ask you this. What if you're wrong?
Ms. Lee breaks it down beautifully. She's scared if the tests say no because she already loves these women. Scared if they say yes because it changes everything she's ever known. She even points out how crucial this this is, so nobody accidentally dates a sibling. She's half laughing, half crying, and same. This is practical and emotional at the same time. Paternity Court, preventing trauma and unintentional family reunions at the club.
People will say, you know, well, why go through with it now? Y'all grown. We got kids. Right. With a lot of siblings growing up with each other. I grew up with not knowing the brothers that I have. Lord forbid that we ever would have dated or something.
Then Judge Lake drops the line. One possible brother is here today. Ms. Lee has never laid eyes on him. Jerome escorts Mr. Miller in, and instantly, you feel the room shift. Mr. Miller politely asks if he can hug her, and when they embrace, whoo! Look at Ms. Lee's face, stunned, soft, overwhelmed. His voice cracks as he explains how emotional this is for him too. This family's trying so hard to click into place.
You, Your Honor.
Hello, Mr. Miller. Thank you for joining us today.
I'd like to ask you a question. If it's okay with you and Miss Lee, could I give her a hug?
Thank you for being here today, Mr. Miller.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I have to ask you, what is your understanding about this situation?
And now, cue the drum roll. The lies, the timelines, the accusations, it's all on the table now. Everyone in the courtroom is on edge as the judge prepares the envelope. Only one piece of evidence can end the shouting and finger pointing. The DNA results will reveal the truth once and for all. Who's the real father, and who will have the last laugh?
How's that make you feel, Ms. Lee?
I don't know. I think I'm a little nuts. I just want the truth.
Well, you know what? Before I open these results, I know they will be emotional either way. If anyone would like to take a seat, you are more than welcome. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostic, and they read as follows.
They all crowd around her. We love you. You're our sister. He can rest now. Ms. Lee is smiling through tears, saying she feels like a weight's been lifted. Judge Lake looks genuinely joyful, reminding us this courtroom exists for this exact type of reunion. No speech needed, no outro, just a brand new family holding on to each other like they're never letting go again.
And thus is the biological daughter of the late Ronald Miller, Ms. Lee. They are indeed your biological brother and sister.
All right. I told you. He can rest and you can be happy.
Yeah, he can rest and you can be happy knowing that we are here. Okay?
Imagine growing up cycling through father figures like episodes. First daddy, then don't call him daddy, then a new this is your real dad, and still ending up with no clear answer at 23. That's Ms. Chanel Craig's life. Today, in Paternity Court, she's staring down the one man she hopes is her biological father, and a mom who once claimed 3 different men. The mission, finally find out who she is.
Ms. Craig, you say that today is your last hope in discovering your true identity. Now you state that one question continually haunts you. Is the man you've been calling dad for most of your life really your biological father?
Yes, Your Honor.
Chanel starts by explaining why this is her last hope, and you can feel the exhaustion in her voice. Foster homes, instability, emotional whiplash. This isn't just curiosity, this is survival-level identity damage. She recalls being told to stop calling one man daddy out of nowhere. Imagine being 5, ripped out of certainty like that. No explanation, no comfort, just confusion. Heartbreaking stuff.
Correct. Now, Mr. Thompson, you say you always assumed you were Ms. Craig's father.
Yes, Your Honor.
But then you claim a startling revelation caused you to question paternity.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Craig, why is today your last hope?
Because I struggle with my identity. I've been going through too much, in and out of foster homes, back and forth. When I was about 5, there was a man in my life, and he was...
Then we get the first twist, that daddy wasn't Mr. Thompson. He was just mom's boyfriend, and everyone knew he wasn't the father, except Chanel. Mom admits she slept with more than one man when Chanel was conceived, but still doesn't get why her daughter's obsessed with answers. I mean, ma'am, you introduced rotating father figures like guest stars. Of course she's asking questions now.
And I couldn't understand why. Like, as a child, I couldn't understand why.
And so that wasn't Mr. Thompson?
No.
When did he come into your life?
I was about 10.
And then what happened? How did you meet him?
I was getting out the foster home with my sister. We went to go stay with my mom and my aunt at the time. My dad came around. I was like, okay, where's the other man at?
At around 10, Chanel's out of foster care, back with her mom and aunt, when Mr. Thompson is suddenly presented as your real dad. No build-up, no context, just, this is your dad right here. You can see Chanel reliving that shock. Again being told to emotionally rearrange her heart, Judge Lake clocks it immediately. This girl's been jerked around so much. No wonder she's clinging to this courtroom for answers.
We have a child together and they're looking at me like I'm crazy.
Him and his wife were just at a tavern?
Yes, and I walked up, say, hey, baby daddy. He's like, no, I don't have any kids. So I'm like, yeah, we have a 10-year-old child together. Yada, yada, yada. I gave him, I told him about her. He came to see her and...
Now, Miss Craig, why would you do that like that?
Mom retells the reunion like it's cute. She sees Mr. Thompson at a tavern with his wife and walks up like, hey baby daddy, we have a child together, ma'am. In public, with the wife, talk about messy. Mr. Thompson claims he doesn't remember this at all, says the first time he saw Chanel was as a baby at her grandma's house after prison. Already, stories are not matching. Cue side-eye.
I came by her grandmama's house. Her mother wasn't there, and I seen Chanel.
When you looked at her, did you believe this is my child? Oh.
I didn't. That's what I told her mother.
And
You're lying. You never told me that. And I don't even believe you went to my mama's house. Where was she living at the time?
On 24th.
Liar.
So wait, Miss Craig, you're saying your mom didn't even live on the street he
No.
said?
Mr. Thompson says when he first saw baby Chanel, he didn't believe she was his. Chanel and Judge Lake both pounce when he tries to recall where mom lived. He gets it wrong, and she hits him with a clean liar. You can feel the frustration. This is Chanel's life they're casually misremembering. Drama overload, and we're barely halfway through the confusion.
And so even though you had doubts when you saw her when she was a child, when you got this call from her aunt that she needed you, you came back again.
Correct, because I felt that she it's a possible chance that she was.
So, okay, so you came back and so you started a relationship with her?
We learn Mr. Thompson came back into Chanel's life after her aunt called, saying Chanel needed him. Despite his doubts, he stepped up and tried to build a relationship. But Chanel, as a kid, didn't trust him enough to go alone. She always brought cousins or her sister. Completely reasonable, but he took it personally and started pulling away. Classic case of adult ego versus child trauma.
But Chanel, you claim from the time you were 10 to the time you were 16, you believe Mr. Thompson was your father.
But he wasn't around that long.
Next layer of chaos. From ages 10 to 16, Chanel believed Mr. Thompson was her father, even though he was inconsistent. Then another previous dad figure comes back. People say they see resemblance, but DNA had already cleared him. This girl has had alleged fathers popping up like plot twists, and not a single adult locked this down early. Talk about emotional negligence.
So now all of a sudden
I don't see no mama. I see her auntie been taking care of her for her whole life.
Whose
That's
whole
all
life?
I see.
Yeah, right. What fantasy world are you living in? Because I don't see that.
We finally get to the birth certificate drama. Mr. Thompson admits one reason for his doubt. Another man's name is on Chanel's birth certificate Judge Lake presses. If mom was so sure about Thompson, why list someone else? Mom says she was 16, scared, and that man volunteered to step up. She swears she never told him he was the biological dad. The pattern? Chaos, fear, and zero clarity for Chanel.
It doesn't
And she showed
matter.
me this birth
I still
certificate.
told you
Ain't
he
told
put
me
his
nothing.
name on the birth certificate.
Ain't told me nothing.
Let me get this straight. Chanel, what happened when you turned 16?
The first man, him and my mom was talking at the time.
Now this is the guy that was around when you were 5.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Thompson reveals he's been through this before, raising another child for nearly 2 decades, only to find out she wasn't his. That hurt, plus mom's inconsistencies, feeds his doubt. But Judge Lake cuts through all of it. Is he doubting because of past trauma or because of this situation? Meanwhile, Chanel just sits there realizing this is the first time she's even hearing he had doubts. I mean, look at her face.
Should have got it done when he came back into my life when I was 10.
Well, that's hard to do when you only got one one person that's willing to do that. You can't make somebody else do something.
Who was willing?
And it was me. I've been that.
Chanel breaks down, saying she's tired of suffering for their mistakes. She's trembling, voice shaking, telling them they have no idea how deep this pain goes. And her mom, instead of really sitting in it, she jumps to "I've been mama and daddy" mode. Judge Lake is like, no, that doesn't fix this. Chanel needed truth and stability, not slogans and rotating candidates. You could cut this tension with a knife.
You said she was a virgin.
Correct.
So why is it you have doubt? If you're Chanel's father, you thought she was a virgin when you were...
Look how it come to me. It came to me as in, like, this is your baby. I ain't never seen her pregnant. I've been gone.
You're stupid. But when you said that... When you
sound stupid.
Wait. Hold on, Miss Craig.
Judge Lake slows everyone down and gives Chanel the floor. Chanel says if they'd handled this when she was born or when she was 10, her life would look completely different. Instead, she's 23 with a baby of her own, drowning in unanswered questions. When she says, "Y'all hurt my feelings for real," that's not drama. It's decades of betrayal and one-line heartbreaking stuff.
What needs to be done for this child?
Did you tell that man he was the biological father?
No, I did not.
He just stepped up and volunteered.
See, I've been through this before. I had another little daughter, and come to find out she's not mine. And I've been taking care of her, she was what, 17, 18 years now.
Then comes the real gut punch. Chanel opens up about being diagnosed with postpartum depression and how it ties directly to her unstable childhood and identity issues. She refuses to let her son go through what she did. They did his paternity test immediately. His father is on the birth certificate, and that cycle stops with her. Honestly, that's strength. In the middle of all this dysfunction, she's the one choosing responsibility.
Chanel, that this really is breaking you down.
It hurt, and they don't even understand like how bad it feels to me that
well, tell them
I gotta go through this. Y'all hurt my feelings for real, Mom.
Well, I apologize because that was never my intentions to hurt you.
But she's still stuck playing referee between her mom and Mr. Thompson, forced to choose sides when all she wants is peace. She doesn't want to pick between her mother and the man she hopes is her dad. She just wants them to show up, be grown, and support her. You can see Judge Lake silently agreeing like, y'all are too old for this mess.
I'm 23 years old now. It shouldn't have been taking that long. I came to him quite a few times. The first time I was 17, he said, well, wait till you turn 18. 18, you ain't got to pay no more child support.
Judge Lake finally redirects everyone. Stop talking over Chanel and listen. Both adults clearly care in their own chaotic ways, but their defensiveness has drowned out her pain. The judge makes it clear. This test isn't about ego. It's about Chanel's mental health, her baby's future, and ending this generational confusion. The room settles. This is the calm before the emotional storm.
I just want to say, first off, I got a baby now, and I was diagnosed with postpartum depression, and it comes from my lifestyle, from this. Like, I done been through too much, and I shouldn't feel like I had to go through that.
With emotions high, Judge Lake calls for the results. Chanel is visibly bracing herself. This isn't just, is he my dad? It's, do I finally belong somewhere? Mr. Thompson looks nervous. Mom looks like she's praying. Her choices don't explode any further. Cue the drum roll. This envelope is about to decide whether Chanel's last hope holds or shatters.
With his dad, so we got the paternity test off top. His name is on the birth certificate. He know that's his child, and when my baby grow up, he not gonna have to go through what I went. But I can't even get these two in the same room together and get along for 5 seconds. And when they go through their situations, then I'm having to choose between them.
The lies, the timelines, the accusations, it's all on the table now. Everyone in the courtroom is on edge as the judge prepares the envelope. Only one piece of evidence can end the shouting and finger-pointing. The DNA results will reveal the truth once and for all. Who's the real father and who will have the last laugh?
Part of getting to that next step of healing, allowing her a chance to just speak about what this has meant to me. And so at this point, I think it's time to alleviate that doubt and that confusion and just have the results.
Mr. Thompson immediately reaches for her, hugging her, telling her he loves her and, I'm still your daddy. Say what you will about the confusion, that moment is real. He's hurting too. He genuinely thought, or needed to believe, she was his. Mom stands there emotional, admitting she has an idea who the biological father is and can find him. And now everyone, and us, knows Chanel still isn't done searching.
These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows. In the case of Craig Thompson, as it pertains to Ms. Chanel Craig, Ms. Craig, Mr. Thompson is not your father.
Judge Lake, clearly moved, tells Mr. Thompson to keep supporting Chanel and to help her find the truth. She reminds Chanel that knowing, even when it hurts, is better than living in confusion. Chanel's escorted to the bench, tears flowing, but she's standing in something powerful now: honesty, support, and a promise to break this cycle for her son. No outro, just raw emotion, unfinished answers, and a determined young mother walking forward.
I'm your mom and dad, don't matter. I'm still your daddy. I love you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So I can tell you wanted to just hear that he was your father to have that closure.
Yeah, because he the only man that's in my baby life right now.